Hey gamers, today we're going to be playing Your Future Self. Now, this game did give me a flashing light warning, so for those watching this video, there it is. But anyway, I have no idea what kind of game this is. I'm going mostly blind. All I know is there's a plot twist or something. Hey, I don't even know what genre this is. This could be a visual novel for all I know. Hey, you! How do I progress? Maybe I wait? Spacebar. Are you there? Good. Listen carefully. You are directly responsible for the deaths of thousands of people. You are probably confused because from your perspective, these events haven't happened yet. How could you possibly be held responsible for something you haven't done? Well, in 35 years, your future self will commit these acts, and your future self is you. You are both part of a single continuous chronological entity. As such, the responsibility for your future crimes also lies with you. Alright, so I suppose with that reasoning we should go kill baby Hitler. Actually, yeah, why, if you have this, why aren't you? You are probably wondering where you are. I've placed you in a temporary bubble outside time. You'll be sharing this bubble with your future self, brought here from 35 years in the future. So, what? They aren't. Why not just. Are they going to have every single version of myself? What difference of time is it going to be? We're going to separate it via millisecond, a second, a microsecond, a nanosecond. How are you doing this? You are to convince your future self of the wrongness of their actions. If you can do this, you will alter your own time stream, changing your own destiny and stopping your actions before they can occur. Only then will you be exonerated of your crimes. There is a limitation of the technology used to hold you in this bubble. Time will flow normally for you, but it will appear to loop every 90 minutes. Interesting. Until you can persuade your future self that their actions were wrong, the loop will continue infinitely. If you succeed, you will sever the causal chain linking you and your future self and alter your destiny. Before responding to anything your future self says to you, think carefully. So what I'm thinking is either I'm the future self, this is a totally different person maybe. I'm trying to think of plot twists. This person actually did something that might be a good thing, and I'm trying to convince them that their good thing was bad. I do the thing anyway, even after convincing them, and we cause this another loop with that, doing the same thing. They will have certain moods. They won't always be receptive to the way you respond to them. Think carefully about your tone and your confidence in your conversational abilities. Your conversational skill, your future self's mood, and your chosen tone will all determine how well they receive what you have to say. If you want to be free, make sure you are as convincing as you can be. Huh. Alright. Think carefully, think strategically, and good luck. Alright, this is pretty interesting. I can't wait to actually play the game. Wow! No, this is an older version of me. Wow! They were actually telling the truth. This is really happening. Well, look at you, just as I remember, so fresh-faced and naive. You have no idea what I've seen. You have absolutely no idea what's ahead of you. So currently they are much more rational than me, much more empathetic than me, much more assertive than me. Their receptiveness is, their rationality is high, empathy very high, assertiveness very high. They actually sound better than me in every way. I'm having trouble believing they're a villain if their empathy, rationality, and assertiveness are all better. If you don't have empathy and you're purely logical, there could be issues there, sure, moral issues, but if their empathy nearly matches their rationality, so surely it's difficult to believe they would commit an atrocity without a reason if they have a high moral understanding. I'm almost looking forward to hearing what you have to say, but believe me, I stand behind what I did completely. I don't know what you're planning to say to change my mind, but it won't work. Empathy. This is very odd for me too, believe me. Sorry. But are you sure this is real? Have we been duped? Ooh. Yeah, this is real. And no, you're not seeing things. I don't believe we're being duped either. Look, I appreciate this is weird, especially for you. It would be best for both of us if you could wrap your head around this as quickly as possible. Let's not draw this out any more than we have to. I mean, we're gonna be doing this until the end of time, right? I'm intrigued as to why this is less weird for you than it is for me. Do you know something I'm not privy to? Gah, you're as stubborn as I can remember. Look, fine, yes, I know something you don't. Time travel was discovered during our lifetime, but it was quickly outlawed by the UN Science Commission. They claimed it was the only choice they had in order to prevent all-out war. They were probably right. The worldwide uproar following its announcement was unlike anything I'd ever seen. The ban wasn't difficult to implement as only a handful of the wealthiest nations on the planet had access to the tech in the first place. I always suspected that the ban was a convenient way for the wealthiest nations to keep time travel hidden and clandestinely use it to their advantage. I've been expecting something like this to happen at some point. That's why I'm not as surprised as you are. More empathy? That makes sense. Technology may have advanced since my time, but it sounds like the politicians are exactly the same. That's right. In many ways, things are worse these days. I'll never believe a bunch of power-hungry politicians would be willing to give up time travel. Oh, nice. Let's see. Was one of these higher? Maybe I'm imagining things. Think about it. This was probably the most monumental technological advancement ever. Were they going to just lock it up and throw away the key? Of course they weren't. It makes sense that the governments would lie about a ban to the public so that they could use it quietly in the safe confines of their own laboratories. I wouldn't put it past them to use it on their own citizens to maintain order. People in power regularly stoop to new lows in order to maintain power and control of their people. Time travel could just be another weapon in their arsenal of opposition. I wanted to hit them with something assertive. To be quite honest, everything you're saying sounds like some kind of paranoid conspiracy. Oh, I don't want to say this. Pretty hard to take it seriously. Oh, guess I was right. Like that. I'm getting enough conspiracy type. Look, I know it sounds, but surely the fact that we're having this conversation at all is enough. This wouldn't be possible without the existence of time manipulation technology. If it truly been banned, then we wouldn't be talking right now. Look, this situation is bizarre. Immediately after finding out time travel exists, you're forced to argue for an older version of yourself. You've not had the time to properly process what's happening. If this had happened to me at your age, I'd probably have had a nervous breakdown. Definitely rational now. Wait, you don't remember this happening to you at my age? If I'm a younger version of you, shouldn't you already experienced this in your past? If you haven't, this has to be a paradox. I know it sounds like a paradox, but I don't think it is. I assume if you're successful in convincing me of my wrongdoing, you've changed your own time stream and prevented this version of me from existing. You will live on to be a version of me that behaves differently and doesn't commit the same crime. I will never have existed. Okay, I have enough of that voice. And I never will exist. That's the point of all this, I think. Oh, I'm sorry, I hadn't thought of it that way. So, this kind of death sentence. Yeah, it is. It's not so bad though. It just exists, which should love instantaneous, painless end to existence. In many ways, I'm actually quite lucky. But stopping me from existing isn't really the point. They could just kill me now if they want it. The point is, they want you to understand why my actions were wrong, in order to prevent you from doing the same thing. What did that disembodied voice say at the start? We're a single, continuous, chronological entity. You can successfully convince me, and you successfully convinced yourself. We are one and the same. Huh. Go assertive. Well, if you're as dangerous of a criminal as they claim, the world's probably better off without you. Yeah, that all depends on whether I'm actually the dangerous criminal you think I am. Yeah. You've not asked me about the details of my alleged crime yet. We've talked about everything else except the very reason we're here. I suppose that will shed light on the situation. Go ahead and tell me what happened. It's a long story. You should get comfortable. Okay, here we go. A few years ago, for me, that is, I was overseer of a climate refuge camp, one of the many the UN set up across the world for people displaced by climate change. From what I remember, it hasn't reached breaking point in your time, In my time, however, millions of people from poorer countries have been displaced by colossal flooding and destroyed ecosystems, and these camps have become their temporary home. As you might expect, there's constant bickering by the world's wealthiest countries over who will take the refugees in the long term. All the while, the camps have been expanding exponentially, and no one's sure how the UN is going to keep paying for them. My camp had about 40,000 people in it. It was like a small city. Conditions were absolutely terrible. There were times when I felt that they'd have been better off dying than fleeing to this place. There was rampant crime, poverty, corruption, and hello, hello, can you hear us? Wait, what? Who is this? You can hear us? Okay, look, we don't have much time. We've temporarily interrupted the loop. Hopefully they can't detect it. If we get cut off, we'll try and interrupt the loop again, but it might have to wait until the next loop for reasons that are too complicated to explain right now. Everything they told you at the start is a lie. No, not a lie, but not the whole truth either. They didn't tell you who they represented, did they? You were just told you needed to. Have you gone? Hello? Rebel interference detected. Mandatory loop reset in 3, 2, 1. Miss Maximum. Wow, they were actually telling the truth. This is really happening. Oh, look at you, just as I remember. So fresh-faced and naive. Alright, let's see. Remember right, I opened up with empathy. Wait, I remember we had this conversation before. I pressed them, even though they didn't want to talk about it. Why, I'm just wasting time. No, this time will be different. What? Doesn't matter what I say? If you think this is all fake, then I'm just a figment of your imagination or whatever you think's happening here. Look, Okay, I'll respect your wishes. Oh, okay. I'm actually kind of surprised. I thought you'd be freaking out. In fact, why aren't you freaking out? This had happened to me. At your age, I'd have a nervous breakdown. This doesn't make sense. What are you hiding from me? This doesn't feel right. Something's wrong. I don't know what to do. I feel like I'm making this work. My future self seems confused. I won't convince them by confusing them. I need to get back on track. What? Let's get assertive. Alright. Another memory. I remember this. I remember them talking about the overseer of the climate camp and conditions. Something interrupts, something I don't understand. They want me to understand them. They want me... Who are they? I need to tell my future self about this. I need them to understand. I remember your story. You were the overseer of the refugee climate refuge camp. The climates were terrible. You already told me this. It does sound strange that halfway through your story, someone interrupts the loop. They try to convince me of something they get cut off before they can say anything. Does this make any sense? No? I have no idea what you're talking about. This time manipulation device might be doing something strange to your mind. Don't worry too much, this sort of tech is way beyond my understanding. I wouldn't be surprised if there are some weird side effects. So wait, you already know I was the overseer? Did I tell you about the rampant crime, corruption, and... Hello, can you hear us? Yes, but stop talking, they know you're here. They'll just reset the loop. Not me again. Keep disconnecting. Are you really listening to me? Sigh, am I boring you? Do you actually want... Yes, I do. Not quite sure what happened, but I really just want to hear your story. Okay, fine. Doesn't really matter anyway. It's not like I can escape from this loop. We'll be stuck here together forever. Now, where was I? Ah, yes. The sickness. There was a colossal sickness rampaging through the camp. I'd never seen outbreaks in other refugee camps. But I'd never seen anything like this before. This level of sickness was just so out of my realm of experience. Thousands had died, and thousands more were at death's door. It was just... definitely empathetically. Wow, it must have been very hard to witness. Do you know what was causing it? Yeah, it was horrible to see. Not only the cause made it even worse. It may have been overseer, but they didn't trust me enough to tell me what they were actually doing. Are you saying you were not only unaware of what caused sickness, but your superiors were actually responsible for it? Wait, how'd you find out? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I was about to report the sickness to senior management, but I began to notice officials behaving strangely across the camp. Hushed conversations, late-night gatherings, off-the-book meetings, and so on. And that's one of my contacts. What was going on? He accused me of being irrational and paranoid. For a while, I believed him, but eventually, it all seemed too strange to let go. I snooped around the senior management offices, but I knew they wouldn't be there. I didn't find anything intimidating, but I found a room in the management sector that I couldn't access. As overseer, I should have been able to enter every door in the camp. Something was very off here. I convinced another contact to give me the key code for the room. She warned me that there was no going back after this, but I didn't care. I didn't know what they were hiding. Of course you need to know. I can understand why you felt pressure to go behind everyone's backs. It must have felt like they were hiding something from you. Confronting them directly wouldn't have helped. I'm gonna press you pull this off without getting caught. Actually, wait a minute. Is this where they caught you? What? They went behind my back. Yeah, I don't know why they said you went behind their back. I was thinking more along the lines of, I understand why... that it must have felt terrible, them all going behind your back and whatnot. It makes sense you were going to investigate, so what exactly did you find? That didn't... How is that empathetic if I say... That's like the most backhanded empathy. Yeah, I really understand why you were basically betraying your country. Those jerks cut me out of their plan for my camp. Not only did they make it impossible for me to do my job properly, they completely destroyed my trust in them. Chain of command only works if the command isn't run by failures. Still though, given my current predicament, my contract almost My contact has certainly been caught. Poor Alice, I really wish I had involved her. She could have met a grim fate. Still, the greater good is far more important. She understands she saw the whole picture. She wasn't naive, she knew the risks. Definitely rational. If she understood the risks still helped you, then I agree. She's her own person, it's not your fault. What'd you discover? Was it worth the risk? And yeah, it was definitely worth the risk. Grim seemed innocent enough, but then I noticed some paper documents on the table next to the unnetworked computer. I hadn't seen the paper for a long time. It was very rare. It was only used when something was too important to be stored in a hacking device. Both things seemed very suspicious. Naturally, I looked at the documents. What did I find? Well, there were detailed reports about a bioweapon program being tested by Clandestine, arm of the UN, sorry. Right under my nose, in this very camp. They were engineering a pathogen that would reliably kill about a quarter of the population. They wanted it to seem natural. It is spread by common water contaminants. Every single person in the camp is a guinea pig for a genocidal weapon. What's my... What, your bosses were in on this? I hope you challenged them right away. Yeah, I did. I took what I found in my other UN source and confronted him about it. I demanded an explanation. I wasn't going to leave without an answer, and he knew it. He told me everything. Their justification? The wealthiest countries were never going to stop arguing about what to do with the refugees. None of their citizens wanted refugees near them, and the situation was only going to escalate as the climate worsened. Some people in those countries blamed foreign nations for not doing enough to protect themselves from the climate change over the past decades. They claimed these countries spent their money on everything but climate defense. Because of this, they apparently deserved to suffer the consequences. Empathy was in extremely short supply. The immediate problem facing the UN was the lack of funding for their growing refugee camps, and no country was willing to increase their contributions. It was quickly reaching crisis point. They needed to do something drastic if they were to effect change in time. Obviously empathy, right? Well, I definitely empathize with our situation. The whole thing sounds awful. The thing is, how do we get from here to kill a quarter of the population? How is that a fair solution? No, I wanted to empathize with myself! Why am I empathizing with the other side? Can there be a thing to the like next to it saying respond with empathy towards the person you're talking to visibly hates. Sympathize with the enemy of the person you're talking to. Can that be the line? Because then I know not to choose it. So you might think, but wait until you hear the rest of the story. They believe that catastrophic population reduction in poor countries would shock wealthier nations and force them to accept some refugees. Why a quarter of the population and why common water contaminants? Well, a quarter is bad, not catastrophic. It would be terrible, but it wouldn't destroy entire countries. And common water contaminants, well, they're present in much higher levels in poorer countries, and almost non-existent in rich ones. If a quarter of people in the richest countries die, they would never take in the refugees. The climate refugees were disproportionately from poorer countries. However, so they would be the ones to be affected by the bioweapon. From UN's perspective, they made a harrowing choice in order to save lives in the long run. From mine, they were willingly murdering millions of people. Okay, fine, assertive. These people are monsters. Wait, in a second. As overseer, shouldn't they have told you about this? You empathize with those monsters? I can't believe you! Why are you emphasizing with those monsters? By the way, they made a horrible choice, but at the end of the day, they're still human and not monsters. Make up your mind! I actually asked my contact why I was kept in the dark. You needed a neutral agent to maintain order, not panic. I won't lie, I was upset. I felt like I was scorned by the very obligation I was served. Was I being kept out of the loop because I was a liability? Didn't they trust me? Did they want to kill me as part of their tests? Is it possible they didn't let you in on it because they suspected you'd have an ethical disagreement with their plans? Maybe. Our parents raised me, and you, I assume? I have a strong moral compass. I suppose I'd always been a bit outspoken about things I cared about, so it made me a good overseer. Really cared for those people and did everything I could to help. That's why I took my concerns to my superior officer in the camp. I knew I'd be putting my position at risk, but I couldn't, in good conscience, let it continue. I only got halfway through explaining my concerns to him before he called security on me. He had absolutely no intention of letting me hear it out. I panicked. If I was captured, no one would stand in the way of their plan. Everyone else was involved, was clearly willing to go along with it. So, I made a split-second decision that I had to live with ever since. I ran down the corridor to the environment control room, locked myself in, closed the camp gates, preventing anyone from getting in or out. The only working version of the bioweapon was in this camp, and all the research notes were here. Then I could destroy them and end this right now. I also knew it was being tested on the refugees, but I had no idea who was infected. Any one of them could have been contagious. Security were banging on the door. It was close to breaking down. I had no time to figure out a better plan. I needed to act then and there. I did the best I could. I really did. There's nothing else I could have done. I deactivated all the safety features of the environment control system using my overseer access and overloaded the whole thing. I ran to the camp, was torched into an inferno, destroyed the bioweapon and the plans, and killed every single person there. There was nothing I could have done. Nothing else I could have done. It was a choice between sacrificing the 40,000 people or allowing millions to be killed when the bioweapon was released. But you're wondering how I'm still alive. Hello, hello, hello. I want to hear what you have to say, but they can detect you. They'll just reset the loop again. Actually, I don't think they will. We've made some improvements, and hopefully we can get around their intrusion screening. We were cut off last time, partway through explaining who the people in charge of this loop actually are. They lied to you. They have no interest in absolving you of a crime. It's never been their goal. They're not a government or a NGO trying to save their people. They're actually a... Hello? Anyone? Rebel interference detected. Mandatory loop reset in... Finally, my stats are really going up. I think I gotta make this multi-parter. We're 33 minutes in. I hope you all enjoyed what's happened so far. As I'll see you all next time. Thanks for watching.